Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter down here at Apter's Alley. I have never streamed live from Apter's Alley here on YouTube. So this is just a test. And I don't know if anyone is watching at this point, but I just want to see what the experience is like at this point. And there are 6 people already engaged, 7 people already engaged. So let's see who you are. I see something. I see a chat box down here. Jacob Waller, G. Smith, wonderful. My goodness. Okay. And Danny, of course. So I might as well, I don't know what the quality looks like on your end there, but well, thank you. I rock. I also roll. You haven't seen any of my music videos, have you? So what do you want to talk about? I'll stay on here for a little while. Let me get the comb over in place here. Any questions about what's going on in the world of pro wrestling or sports entertainment? Thank you. I always say they weren't my magazines, but I was the face of the magazines. And I really appreciate all you people. I appreciate your fanship. Am I watching Total Divas? I'm not watching it this evening right now because I'm on here. And the audio and video is great. Thank you. Will the podcast be returning? Not at this point. If you find the podcast business is so filled. There are so many wrestling podcasts that I didn't want to get involved in this whole deep river of wrestling podcasting after a while. We did it. Nick Hausman and I did that, as you know, and it was pretty successful. Might return in the future, but it would have to be, I was thinking of doing one with a, wrestling magazine type of format. So we might work on that, but let's get some sponsor interest. That would help a lot too. When was my last day at PWI? My goodness, it's about 21 years ago when I left for WOW magazine. And I miss my days at PWI. Of course I did. We did the Wrestler and Inside Wrestling. Where would Brody have gone if he was not killed? From John Bingaman. These are coming in faster than I can actually keep up with. I think he would have been just a major player, major bad guy, especially in WWE. Man, he was incredible. I knew him really well. He was a monster, and he was a monster among men, and he would have been super successful here. Looking forward to seeing me at WrestleCon in New Orleans, Joey Cub. I will be there, Joey Cub, with Awesome Wrestling Entertainment at the same table as the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and several others. And I will have copies from my book down there. If you already have it, come down and let me sign it. No charge for me signing the book. And if you want to buy one of my books, I'll have it there as well. Am I going to Raw on the 29th of January in Philadelphia? I assume that's Royal Rumble weekend. Wait, I'm looking to see that. Yeah, the comb over's good. At this point, I should be there every night in Philadelphia. Wow. Teddy, give Adam Monday heart. Bill Apter for the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm so flattered by people who say that. If they find a reason to put me in there, it would be the greatest achievement of my career. I am in a bunch of Hall of Fames. I don't know if you can see this, but I have a ladder over there with a lot of different Hall of Fames that I'm in. One day or one night, I'll go live here, announced live, and 23 people here already, and I never even announced this. This is great, and I'll show you, give you a tour of Apter's Alley. Ever in Ohio? I was in Ohio many years ago, back in the days of when Johnny Powers ran the National Wrestling Federation back there, Pedro Martinez, and a lot of WWF shows way back when, but haven't been to Ohio in a while. Loved Ohio. I actually I photographed the Muhammad Ali Chuck Wepner fight in Youngstown, Ohio. Yeah, a little bit of information that you didn't know. Victim AZUL. Did you introduce Andy Kaufman to Jerry Lawler like some people say? Yes, read it. It's in my book. I hooked that whole thing. I introduced Jerry Lawler to Andy Kaufman, and the whole story is in my book. I don't want to give the whole story away here. It'll take me an hour to go into that. Please read my book, or just look it up online. You can find it somewhere. Yeah. Lucky Cloud, thank you. You're welcome. Dean Ambrose turning heel in 2018? Maybe. You never know what's going to happen with WWE. It all depends. A lot of their direction comes from the way the people are reacting and how they're taking to someone. So yeah, possibility. Great bad guy. And I want to wish him good luck. He just had surgery, I believe, today or yesterday. So Dean Ambrose, we're all thinking about you. Teddy, get him out of Monday's heart. Big Bill fan of yours from Ireland. Been to Ireland. Would love to go back, my boy. I love it there. I love my overseas trips. So Ireland, UK, Italy. Gosh, I've been to so many countries because of you in pro wrestling business. Japan several times. Domanigato. I'm new at this, and the computer's down here, and I'm trying to follow what everyone's asking me, but I need to raise the computer up. I like just jumping on here without announcing it, so never did this before. David Bass says, yes, it's a great book. Is wrestling fixed? I didn't know it was broken. Thank you so much, Dave. Bronco Bill Apter. I used to horseback ride, so well. Thomas McCarthy, when did you slow appearing ringside doing photos and shift to more writing, video interviews? Love your work. Thank you so very much, and I love doing it. When I went to WOW magazine, they already had a lot of freelance staff members, and I was more office and interviewer than I was photographer around the ring. As you know, and if you don't know, we'll discuss this on another broadcast, that the WWF had banned all the magazines from shooting ringside. So that was, again, it's a long story, but that was one of the reasons that I pulled back too. Once in a while, I go to an independent show and I'll take the old Nikon FM out and shoot some film. Yeah, film. What is that? Look it up. Merry Christmas, Bill. Thank you very much. Happy holidays to everyone out there. Hanukkah-ites, Christmas-ites, everybody. They are Kwanzaa-ites. Yes, Bass is in the fish. David Bass. Hi, David Bass is in the fish. And is in Ron Bass, too. G. Smith, favorite memory while covering the St. Louis wrestling scene? That would be Sam Muchnick's anniversary party there, where all the greats came out. Gene Kiniski, Ric Flair, Jack Briscoe, Larry Matisic was there. Yeah, and shooting some of the classic matches between Dory Funk Jr. and Jack Briscoe there was really, really cool. Bill Wyatt, Bray's dad. No, Bray's dad. That's Mike Rotundo. Rest in peace, Macho and Piper from Greg Gallagher. Oh, yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage and the amazing Roddy Piper. You get to do some of my imitations on here, of course. Kenny Omega, Wrestler of the Year from Desmond Skinner. Good pick by you for Kenny Omega. So who will play Bill Apter in the biopic? First of all, somebody's got to make the biopic. People say I look like Larry David at times, Woody Allen. Who would play, let me see, who would play me in the biopic? Probably, well, the older me would be me. The younger me would probably, Justin Bieber. I don't know, never thought about that. It's a great question. Happy holidays to the godfather of One Wrestling Family from the Professor. From the Godfather. Kiss the Godfather. All right. Bray's dad is Captain Mike Rotunda. Yes, the IRS. Uh, Johnny Depp with makeup. Oh, not a bad idea. Johnny Depp. Yeah, big fan of his. Um, we're down to 20 people. Randy Helms. Can we have a little my way tonight, if you will? Randy Helms is one of my best friends in the whole world, and we always, when we get together, if you will, we imitate the Meccan dream, doth their road, if you will. So you want a little my way, Randy? Whose voice do you want me to do my way in? Give me a favorite wrestling magazine cover. That Pro Wrestling Illustrated days was it was a caricature drawn of Hulk Hogan. I always loved that magazine cover. I have some magazines behind me here in Apter's Alley, but I don't have that one here. I'll have to give you guys a tour of Apter's Alley one night, live and in person. Okay, let's see now. We're favorite match from the past year. God, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back to that. There were a lot of them. I'll have to come back to that one. Get back to you on that one. There were so many of them. My memory is gone for that. Hey, Bill, did any wrestlers legit scare you? Brock Lesnar scared me when I first met him. He really did. Back in the old days, Bulldog Brower, Crazy Luke Graham, Wild Bull Curry. I mean, way back. Yeah, those were just a few of them. G. Smith, do my way as Jerry Lewis, please. I don't have my Jerry glasses here, Will. And now the end is near, and so I face like the final curtain. It's a little Jerry there. Who else do you want to hear? Randy Helms says, sing my way with the Grand Wizard's voice. And now the end is near, and it's been your pleasure, and I face the final curtain. This is fun. The beast and he is. Wow, spot on impersonation of who? I do thousands of people. Thomas McCarthy says, thoughts on Carson's Wrestling World closing and any chance someone like yourself could take it over? I can't take it over. I have no time to take it over. I don't have the finances. We only pool in money and keep it alive. It's absolutely horrible that Bud Carson's Wrestling World is closing. He even has a space for Apter's Alley in there, but it's such a great place. It's such one of my favorite places ever. I'm very sorry he's doing that. Bill asked Teddy, give a damn Monday's heart. Did you ever watch any Dynamite Kid versus Tiger Mask matches? I did, actually, on YouTube, and they were fantastic. By the way, when I see the last name Hart, I do an imitation of Bret Hart. Not many people know I do this. So anyone want to hear it, just let me know. I'll see if I can work it out here. Is Vince going to sell WWE? I don't think so. I think it's going to stay in the family. I really do. And, I always say, no matter what the criticism is of Triple H, is that he's an old school guy in a new school world, and he knows how to pretty much handle it all. So I'm very impressed with what he's bringing into the McMahon family. Mr. Perfect. Whoa. I didn't know you were still around. Mr. Apter is the icon of my best pro wrestling illustrated memories. Thank you so much. I still have over 500 Apter mags. I don't mind being called that. I was the face of it, but they were the Stanley Western mags. From early to late 1980s, Inside Wrestling was always my favorite. $1.50 in 1981. Did you know I did a radio show on WHBI 105.9 FM called Inside Wrestling, brought to you by The Wrestler and Inside Wrestling magazines? And if you look at YouTube, I think some of those are on there. Fan Sports 5. Bill, do you know what happened to the WWE's UK division show, or is it just a mobile division now? I'm not really sure, mate, what's happening to that right now, but I'm trying to find that out and get back to you, all right? Danny, What are your thoughts on Shane O'Mac turning into Vince McMahon? Unquestionably, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, no problem with it. It's great character for him. Desmond Skinner, NWA making contact. I think it's great with the National Wrestling Alliance trying to make a comeback. However, to be successful, you have to have a TV universe at least somewhat the size of WWE. So good luck to William Corrigan with this. The couponer, hashtag Apter for the WWE Hall of Fame 2018. Thank you. Again, if they find a reason to do it, I'm there. And Joe G, Bill, you ever make it to the old Maple Gardens in Toronto? Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto? Oh, many times. I shot pictures there back in the days when the original Sheik, not the Iran Sheik, but when the original Sheik was the main man there. And yeah, for years I shot there back in the days of Frank Tunney when he was promoting there. And I used to love the runway that they had like above the fans and the wrestlers would come to the ring. It was very unique, very unique. So a few years ago, and some fans, and I don't remember names right now, took me to old Maple Leaf Gardens to see the outside of it. I love it. I loved coming to Canada. Actually, it's in Toronto where ECW Press, the people that published my book, is Wrestling Fixed. I didn't know it was broken. Get it on Amazon or in your favorite bookstore. That's where the publisher is located. What did I think of the Nick Bockwinkel versus Jumbo Tsuruta? Now, as you know, I'm an editor. It's Tsuruta. Got to spell that right. I thought it was great. And every match Nick Bockwinkel was in, I thought was terrific. Never saw a bad one. Same thing with Jumbo Tsuruta. Bill. Series of matches he had against Billy Robinson and or Vern Gagne. Yeah, classic matches. And I used to love to shoot pictures of his matches too because he always looked good in photographs. Moshmaster D, did they find the cause of the death of Tom Zhang? If they have, I don't know what it was at this point, but man, that really shocked me. I knew Tom pretty well. And 59 years old. What a shame. Don Bowen, is Mr. Wrestling 2 still alive? I got to say that, yes, he is. And I just talked to him. We call each other every year at Thanksgiving and on Christmas Day. And I used to love with the fans in Georgia, old school fans, when he would come out and you'd have 18,000 people at the Omni chanting, two. And I used to love watching him, give the knee. Can't see the knee there. I'm not down that low. But yeah, he's still there. And it's funny. I always say, if any of you remember the old Honeymooners show, Ralph Cramden, Jackie Gleason, he used to always do things like, "Oh, you're going to the moon, Alice." If you listen to Mr. Wrestling number 2's interviews, it sounds just like Ralph Cramden. Tommy Rich, boom, pow, you're going to the moon, man. So, okay. I'm sorry if I'm missing some of these questions. The feed is going up so fast. Greg Gallagher, Superfly, brother. You know something, brother? That's absolutely true. Beautiful in the Wonderland. Alan Bennett, what did you think of Tim Storm, Rick Aldis match? It was good. It was a good wrestling match. TN Coupon or Mr. Apter, what match would you like to see at WrestleMania? Brock Lesnar against Braun Strowman, 1-on-1. Nasty Nate, Blue Meanie for the WWE Hall of Fame. Why not? Great character. I love him. One of my favorite people. Great chapter on him in my book. Richard Bain says, I sure miss Roddy Piper and Dusty Rhodes. Rhodes. Their feuds were legendary. They sure were. Desmond Skinner. Why didn't WWE do anything for Bobby Heenan? I don't work for WWE, so I can't tell you whether he did or they didn't. We don't know that. Billy 06 Too Far. That's my nickname too. They used to call me Billy Apter. Actually, Terry Reynolds still calls me that. I always liked the show from the Olympic Auditorium. Have you ever been there? And what were your thoughts about the building and the promotion? My favorite part, well, that's where I discovered Mil Mascaras. Everybody knows that I always loved his wrestling in the ring because he made it look so easy and so graceful. But the other part, and the labels were great to me. The other part, and you remember Richmond 151, Richmond 95171. The phone number was always there on TV. But I used to love the original, the senior, Jimmy Lennon Sr., the ring announcer. He'd go, "All right, wrestling fans, in this corner, they claim to be from New Mexico, Great Goliath Black Gourdman." He was a great ring announcer. No, that was great stuff. Because when I lived in New York, in Queens, New York, in Kew Gardens, I had a UHF antenna, and I used to get their shows on Channel 41. And Canal 41, Lucha Libre from the Olympic Auditorium. And some of my early days watching the yearly Battle Royals there, I loved that promotion. Yeah. Any personal stories on Ray Stevens? You talking about the wrestler or the singer who did the streak? No. No personal story on Ray Stevens right now that I can think of, but I'm sure I can think of some of them and later on. What is your Faith the Slayer? What is your take on the upcoming Jericho Omega match at Wrestle Kingdom 127? I did a video on it like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Go to One Wrestling Video. That's the number one, not the word. OneWrestlingVideo.com, and you can see that there. Yeah, it's from the weather changing every day. They're going so fast here. Dan Bowen, I'm from Georgia. I'm glad you are, Dan. Loved it there. Fan Sport used to live in Rego Park, not far from Kew Gardens. I lived behind the courthouse, 13509 81st Avenue, I think, or 83rd Avenue, and that's where I brought Andy Kaufman for us to talk to Jerry Lawler on telephone. Yeah. Richard Bain, once again, Bill, what was your favorite feud of all time? Mine was Snooker versus Piper and Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat. Flair Steamboat was my number one, followed by Briscoe Funk. And I'm not talking about Terry Funk. I'm talking about Junior. Mark Mueller. You think Impact Wrestling moving to Canada was a good move for the company? I don't know yet. That's where their main offices are right now. So I think any move right now is a move in the right direction for them. Best ring announcer ever. And my name is Joe McHugh. He was a great ring announcer. I remember Johnny Addy from the old Madison Square Garden and Bob Freed, friendly Bob Freed. But Jimmy Lennon always captured my attention. Teddy Hart. Bill, I have had a really life fight with a wrestler before. His name was Jamie Dundee. Yes, I do know Jamie Dundee. I haven't talked to him in years, but I do know who he is. Of course, the son of Bill Dundee. Whereas, if any of you remember Howard Cosell, I used to love the way he used to pronounce the name of the fight manager, Angelo Dundee. He'd go, Angelo Dundee. Bill, do you know the cause of Tom Zank's death? As I said, I don't. Fan Sport, has there ever been a Bill Apter action figure created? One. And I have it upstairs. My friend Josh Chernoff made it for me. So, and I think there was one that Modern Vintage Wrestling made for me, but no action figure. Not that I know of. Mr. Perfect, your name, Nasty Nate. I like Greg Valentine versus Rugged Ronnie Garvey. That was a great feud. Yeah, it was. Hands of Stone versus the Hammer. See, I used to like Greg Valentine's father. We used to call him his brother, Johnny Valentine. And Greg would both come to the ring like this. Always with the elbow. I'm going to stay on another 2 or 3 minutes. And again, I'm just going to jump on here every few nights. I'm having a lot of good time. Thank you all for jumping in here. Richard Bain, what wrestling death hit you the hardest? Whew. I think Kurt Hennig. I was so close to him. Yeah, but they all hit me pretty hard because these people are family members of mine. If you want to let people know on Facebook, on Twitter that I'm on here before I get off here, I will stay for a couple more minutes. We got 30 people in the room here. Greg Gallagher, how's the Iron Sheik? Fine, as far as I know. G. Smith, as someone that was born well after wrestling at Chase was gone, what was the atmosphere like to be there? It was like a legit boxing club almost. It was like being at, it was just legit. Nobody said, oh, that was a bad spot or they screwed up. It was classy. That's the way I can put it. Being in their arena was classy. It was a night out of professional wrestling, sport. Yeah, classy. Joe G, thanks for coming on. Nice to hear your stories. I did a story about, if you go to onewrestlingvideo.com, I did a story yesterday about New York State Athletic Commissioner Dooley back in the early 70s reprimanding me for asking him about women's wrestling. So go check that out, please. Thanks for taking the time to answer our questions, Bill. Happy holidays and all the best. Fan support, you too. Bill, do you have any old Chris Candido matches you can upload for us? If you go to YouTube and you put out in Bill Apter Wrestles Chris Candido, there's my office match of me putting him in the figure 4 leg lock in the empty arena at the Meadowlands. It is on there. I don't own any videotapes of personal shot matches. I shot pictures for the wrestling magazines that I worked for, and they own everything I shot, and I have no problem. I was on a weekly salary. So, Mr. Apter, what is your favorite interview? Michael Fry. That changes every time I interview people. I always enjoyed, and I'm going old school, interviewing Bruno Sammartino. Most honest guy in pro wrestling when I would interview him. There's nothing you couldn't ask him. And yeah, so he would stand out as being a favorite. It might not have been a colorful interview, but it was truthful. And yeah. What is my favorite interview? Favorite wrestling championship belt? That would be, I don't know if you can see this, but a guy named Cody in Astoria, Queens, took like 400 Legos and made me this belt. That's my favorite championship belt. Yeah. Okay. Nothing compares to that. If you're watching, Cody, thank you very much. Yeah, Owen Hart, the King of Hearts, that was another, that right up there with Kurt Hennig in terms of a wrestler's death that hit me the most. Mark Mueller, do you remember a wrestler named Denny Cass? I do, in the Detroit area. He was a member of the Fabulous Kangaroos, yeah. I used to play floor hockey with him. He died a few years ago. I miss his old wrestling stories. I knew Al Costello, Roy Heffernan when I was a fan as a kid. I used to run after for autographs, and Don Kent I knew really well too. Alan Bennett. Hey, Alan. How did you get to party with the Four Horsemen? Did I get to? Yeah, all the time. I rode in the limos with them. I had a great time. A million stories that are not in my book. Jordan Culberson, Ron Wright versus the Sheik. How do you think that would have went? Sheik would have hit him with a fireball. Then it would have been Ron wrong. Terrible joke. Sorry about that. Richard Bain, another great feud. Mil Mascaras versus the Destroyer. Man, in Japan, that was like one of the all-time great feuds. Frank Semelian, that's nice. Nice NWO jacket hanging behind you. Yeah, this was a bunch of jackets that was given to me actually by by all the guys in the NWO. I was in the dressing rooms with them all the time. And there's this jacket over here, the ECW jacket, was given to me by Tommy Dreamer and Taz way back when. And there's an NWO hat that the NWO guys had given me. Worst injury I've ever witnessed, Joe G, was probably when Sid Vicious's leg blew out. Bloodiest match would have been Abdullah the Butcher against the original Sheik. Do you think that a wrestling territory would work today, Jordan Culbertson? The indies are like wrestling territories. So as long as the dumbest thing I've ever heard is when an indie promoter says, we're going to bring you on board and we're going to put Vince McMahon out of business. It's never going to happen. To create an indie territory, one promoter running, let's say, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, you can do it as long as you're your own shop and you have ways to promote your material. You're not trying to go up against anyone else. So, yeah. I mean, but again, if one indie wants to get big, you have to have an equal television universe and an equal product to WWE. Bill, how many times did Vince Sr. sack Captain Lou Albano? I couldn't tell you. I was around that time. But yeah, it happened on and off and on and off. They had a very interesting relationship. All right, been on here now 31 minutes, 39 seconds. I'm going to call it. Let me just see if there's one other thing I want to show you down here at Apter'S Alley, because I didn't know I was going to do this. This was just going to be a test. Give me a sec. I'll be right back. Let me see what I can find down here in Apter'S. Well, here's a photo that I have lying around. This was taken in 1971 at Madison Square Garden. Can you see it? So that's me with hair, yeah, interviewing Terry Funk and Dory Funk Sr. Backstage at Madison Square Garden. Dory Funk Jr., back in those days when he was champion, never worked Madison Square Garden until he came here as, as Haas Funk. But yeah, old picture. So, oh, Howard Becker, I know you. Amazing impromptu show. Thank you. I just wish we had some more people here. Richard Bain, I wonder why the WWF never gave Billy Graham a run as a babyface champion. Billy Graham was such an iconic champion. They never should have ended his reign. He should have been champion, bad guy champion forever. And you don't change the people, you change the opponents, and then the people get on your side. Great photo, Mr. Apter. Thank you very much. That was taken with, I had that camera around here someplace. My father took that picture with a, oh, here it is. Hang on. I'm going to show you what my father took the picture with. My father took the picture in the dressing room, and I still have my original Minolta camera, and it took film. My battery's dying. I'm not plugged in here, gang. Thank you. Yes, you're so young, Bill. I still am. So one last imitation, first person who asks here before we call it an evening. One last wrestling imitation. I'm waiting in the chat box. Who do you want to hear? Frank Sinatra? I love Sinatra's music, but not, I wasn't a big fan of his. Why do heels hold on to titles? Oh, I can't imitate Little Beaver. Captain Lou. Well, you know something, brother? The captain's got it all. Ability, agility, guts, maneuverability, brother. Bordenhouse pie. That's it. This is Bill Apter. Follow me at Apter1Wrestling. That's the number one. Please subscribe to, well, first of all, please follow me on Twitter. I'd love to have some more followers. And please subscribe to OneWrestlingVideo.com. It's the number one, not the word, onewrestlingvideo.com. This is Bill Apter. I got to get out of here. Woo! To you two. And I'll see, and you're the best too. All of you are. Thank you so very much. And hold it. Let me take a picture of all of you. Gosh, it still works. Amazing. Let's see if I have any film in this gimmick here. There's still film in here. So if we get enough viewers one night, I might do part of my one-man show on here. That'll include music and everything. So, well, thank you, Ed G. Love you back. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bill Apter here at Apter's Alley, and I'll see you at the matches. Get my book, please. Follow me on Twitter. And if you're coming to Philly for the Royal Rumble, I'll be in town those few days. With maybe we can all get together and have some pizza.